The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
This week's episode of PSVG Prime is brought to you by our amazing Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/PSVG. That's P as in Peach, S as in Sexy, V as in Victor, G as in Gorilla. Anyway, thank you to our Patreon supporters, especially Coach Hulk, Edmund Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh Barboni, Chris M., Devin Tyus, Paul Calicote, Kyle Heyman, and Benny Liu. Thank you so much for your support. Quick reminder for any of you, if you're not a Patreon supporter, number one, what's wrong with you? Like, seriously, clearly something is wrong inside of your brain, and you probably should have that checked out. You get so much stuff. Arcadia Academia now. You continue to get Kevin Hates Everything, which had the first of apparently what's going to be many rap battles between PSVG Prime and the OT, as well as the PSVG DLC show, which episode 6 just dropped, featuring myself, Devin, and Nathan, kind of going over the MCU if it was filled with PSVG folks instead. So that was some good conversation there. But on top of all of that, you're entering into our monthly giveaway. And for this month, it includes a $20 Apex Legends credit, $20 to the eShop of your choosing, or because this month was sponsored by Nintendo Shack, they added an NBA 2K Playgrounds DOS. That's the sequel for those of you who don't speak Spanish. I got you. So, with that being said, we are happy to announce that June's winner is, drumroll please, the Turkey of Trash. That's right. Trash Turkey, you are the winner. Congratulations. I'm sure Donnie will reach out to you to claim your prize, and most likely before this episode is even posted, because he likes to do that for some reason. But to get in on all the action, help support us, head on over to patreon.com/PSVG. But with that all out of the way, let's move on to this week's episode of PSVG Prime. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of PSVG Prime. It is I, your host, joined by my heterosexual life mate, Mr. Lucas Rose.
Hey, you can tell because I'm married and I've had children. So I finally have proof, high school people who used to make fun of me. Gosh.
That's right. He's had sex at least twice.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
Boom.
We hope. I mean, it could still be a front, but...
Well, there's, what's the test tubes or whatever?
Yes, there are test tubes.
It starts with a V. Vitrol.
Viagra? What?
No. Every sexual thing starts with a V.
That's true.
Immunization? No, it's VSF. USSR.
Is that an anti-vax comment? You're anti-vax? I didn't know that.
I'm anti-vax. It's like a new...
That's the hipster way of saying you approve of vaccinations. Fair enough.
I'm actually way into vaccinations.
I double vaccinate my kids.
That's right. I vaccinate for vaccinations.
You have the chickenpox shot, and the pre-chickenpox shot, and the polio.
IVF.
Yes.
IVF is what it's called.
There you go.
So you do not have to have sex to have children. Boom.
So you just wait. So we went through all of that to get to IVF, to only take away your point that you had sex at least twice, and basically just confirm that it's quite possible you did not.
I explore all avenues and all ways of life. So, I'm just putting it out there. You got to be prepared for every argument.
That's true. And if this is your first episode of PSVG, we are sorry, but this is how it is most of the time. We do eventually talk about video games, I swear, but there's shenanigans to be had.
We love shenanigans. We fit in a solid 5 minutes of shenanigans into the show.
At least we just did that at the top of the show, and God only knows what's going to happen later on. We'll break down at some point. I'm sure.
It usually happens about midway into the news. So
yes, it's very true, very true. And I think I have a news story that will make us have some conversation that will go that way. I think so.
Goody.
But before we get into that, let's talk a little about what we've been playing. I'll go first because I really don't have a whole lot to say. I am still playing Moonlighter, as I said before. Now that I know how to sell things, I'm making lots of money and making my way through these dungeons. Actually, being able to craft and afford armor this time because previously it would take forever. So yeah, I'm still having fun with that. It's a great little if I have a half hour that I can actually take for a lunch break during work, I can just play that for a little bit and be able to put it down. So it's a good little lunch break thing. Yes,
I beat that game.
Oh, you beat that game?
Yeah, Moonlighter. I beat that one.
Moonlighter.
I didn't get a chance to say last time, but I did actually beat that game.
Huh. I did not know that.
Yeah. So
interesting.
I didn't even have to look at a guide ever when I did it. So your run is basically like there's an asterisk. If you beat the game, which you probably won't.
I probably won't now. I'm gonna lose interest.
I mean, you had to look up how to sell things, and that's like one of the most basic things of the game. So,
right. I'm like, oh well, crap! I'm making $200 off this. I'm happy with this, and then I come to find I come and charge you like $5,000. I'm like, oh, that's why my customers are so happy.
I checked out your Google history, your Google search history, and it said, "What is money?" That was the first one on the list.
Well, that's not tied to Moonlighter. That's tied to the fact that I have none, so I really don't know what money is.
It's true. You could walk by it on the street and you'd be like, I don't know.
Donnie doesn't pay me, so I'm not familiar with this concept. But a game I don't think you beat that I have beaten, in case you didn't know, Hyrule Warrior Legends.
I thought you were going to say Apex Legends.
Well, that's too. I'm pretty
game?
Well, I have technically.
Wow.
But Hyrule Warriors, yes, I re-downloaded that again to play through the challenge maps they have a little bit just as a refresher in between Moonlighter sessions, because I was getting a little tired sometimes of doing that same loop. As fun as it is, as satisfying as it is to watch that money go up, you do get a little sick of it after a while, and you're like,
so you went with another game that has a very samey loop.
Yes, but the loop runs much longer.
Different. Yes, that's true.
Like a Moonlighter dungeon you can do in 5 minutes. A map on Hyrule Warriors Legend could be like a half hour depending on the battle.
That is true. I played this a little while ago, and that's what I found. I didn't play it for very long because I was like, if I play this, I'm sitting down to like play this. Yes. You know what I mean? Like you're start to finish, or else you're out. So
yep. And those challenge maps after are like worse because it's like you have beat 10,000 enemies in 10 minutes, and it's like, okay, so like you have to invest for that amount of time, like you can't stop. Or it's like beat all the bosses, and that may take like a half hour to do all that.
Oof.
I did one where I had to refight the final boss, but I also had to fight like dark versions of 3 of the other characters first, and then moved on to that final form of Ganon from when he's the giant pig like thing, which that takes like 10 minutes to beat too. So I'm like, Jesus, it took like 45 minutes to beat this one map challenge.
I didn't come here to play video games. I wanted to be done in 10 minutes. Jeez.
Yeah, what the hell? I can make another joke. I'm not going to make though. The last thing, it's got its hooks in me real deep. Apex Legends. It's my new Fortnite, let's be honest. I haven't touched Fortnite in I don't know how long, and I have zero desire to go back to it because I'm so in on Apex now. It's not even funny. I think part of it is because I'm actually better at Apex than I was at Fortnite. And I wasn't bad at Fortnite, but I have way more wins than Apex already. And I spent a lot more time playing Fortnite. I think I like the appeal of actually not having the option of going in solo, which is one of the things I actually complained about at first when I first got Apex, was like, oh, there's no solo mode where it's a literal free-for-all. It's always teams of 3. I actually like the team of 3 dynamic now, because if you get like the right people playing with you and they pick like the right characters, you have a real different dynamic. Mm-hmm. And the win I got last night, which is funny because like I got back from the beach house, it was late, I was tired, I was like, I'll play one game. That's all I'm gonna play. Boom, won. And I played with two randoms. I typically don't play with anybody I know, except for that one time I played with Luke and Mr. Badbit. I play Lifeline, who's the healer support person, and somebody was Bloodhound, who he's like the tracker who can kind of see like where footprints where people had been recently. And then somebody plays Gibraltar, and I've yet to have anybody play Gibraltar right. He's the big Samoan guy who can drop like a shield and protect things.
I actually have. That's the only person I've played as.
Okay, so yeah, it's hard to find somebody that's good with him from what I've seen. Like typically if I run into a squad and Gibraltar is one of the people, I go after him first. He seems to be like the easiest one to take out.
Yeah.
But this guy knew what he was doing. He played in a very unique way. He would use the shields not to protect us. He would drop it so then we can continue running away because the enemies can't shoot through the shield.
Yeah.
From the outside,
Yeah.
And if they run into the dome, they still can't shoot out of the dome either. So it gives us like a huge head start to get away, or to put a divider between us and the enemies. So he played really, really smart. I ended up being the kill leader, meaning I had the most kills in that game, in the match. I had the most damage out on my team, and like it was like champion. I'm like, all right, put it down. I'm not going to have any better luck tonight than I did with that. But yeah, man, I'm in, and it sucks because I was like, I had myself convinced that I wasn't going to buy the season pass for season 2 when it starts next week, or actually I think it starts tomorrow. I'm totally buying the season pass. Who are we kidding? Like I'm going to do it again. It's just I love this game so much, and I want to support him. I've earned enough credits to get the next legend that they're releasing tomorrow for free, so I'm not paying for that. So I'll give them the $10, whatever it is, to get the season pass and get some more skins or whatever else they're going to give us with that. But
when you buy the season pass, are you going to just be like, I hate myself, I can't believe I'm doing this? But you know, you have that talk in your head. And you're just, are you serious? I'm buying another one of these. Come on, Kevin, get it together.
A little bit, but I can guarantee you I'll make it further in this season than I did all of last season, simply because last season I bought it and I was like, oh, I'll play with Seth and Justin and we'll get to play together. And it never happened the entire season. The three of us never linked up. You know, Justin had to go and have a kid, and you know, Seth games in the early morning, which I do sometimes, but typically I'm on the Xbox because it's downstairs. My PlayStation's upstairs. So that never worked out. But if I just play on Xbox, I don't mind just playing with randoms. But maybe Nathan can join in. And I know Josh played the other night, so hopefully I can link up with some people and make it a little more fun. But yeah, enjoying the heck out of it. It's stupid, these battle royales.
Can I just say that every time you tell me that you play Lifeline, I think of the song Lifeline by Papa Roach.
Yes.
So that better be playing, you know. I want to see a highlight reel.
I'm going to make a highlight reel of all my best kills, and I'm going to put it to that. Absolutely.
Yes, it'll be the only time anyone has heard that song in like 5 years. So
that's true. Fair enough. But anyway, the floor is yours, sir. What have you been playing?
Excellent. Well, I built this floor that I have now out of Legos. Can you believe it? Do you want to know how I did such a thing?
How did you do such a thing?
Well, I went on eBay and I typed in lot of.
You're muted.
And I bought one. No, I wasn't. You're muted. Shut up. I bought one for $5 and I built it.
$5? Well, I mean, it's much better because the last one you built was you built that city on rock and roll. So now you built it in Legos.
Rock is surprisingly hard to build with. Like,
I mean, it's jagged. It doesn't really stick together.
Exactly. And I use glue. So
I mean, what more could you do?
Who knew? Lego Worlds. I also built a floor in Lego Worlds with my son. Can you believe it?
Wow. Instead of playing real Legos, you played digital Legos with your son.
I did, because we're poor and I can buy digital Legos on Humble
way
Bundle.
Cheaper.
Yes, exactly. And I get a lot more of them.
That's true.
So here's the thing. Here's the rub, as they say. Lego games. I thought my son would be very interested in Lego City Undercover because being able to drive the cars, you know, he's a pretty typical boy. He likes cars, he likes machines, he likes farm equipment, all that stuff. And so I figured, okay, he's going to be able to jump in these cars and just, you know, tool about town, and he'll find that to be a rip-roaring good time. You know, he's almost 4, so he's not really quite to the point where he can really build anything anyways without kind of guidance or anything. He's not a master builder yet, like me.
Master
builder.
Builder.
Yes. What were you thinking?
I couldn't hear you. I think you went muted again. That's what it was.
Oh,
you were like master, and I was like, what do you say?
Got you. Yeah. So I had Lego Worlds because I bought that in a Humble Bundle pack. And I was like, I'd seen a little bit of footage and I didn't know if he'd be able to play it or not. Well, he started to get bored. He would play Lego Batman, the first one, because I already had that installed for myself. I was just kind of checking it out. And he can play it somewhat, but like the missions for either of those games, cities, or he can do them, but he loses interest by the time, you know, he's halfway through.
Now, can you do 2-player co-op though on the PC with those?
Yes, you can. Yes.
Okay, I was like, because you should be able to help him along through the stages.
Yes, and I have. Okay. I have. But sometimes he's cool with it, and other times he's like, okay, I want to go back to the city, for instance, and just, drive around. And it's funny because he usually just wants to tell me what to do. Yep. So I'll like start walking around trying to find something to do. And he's like, Dad, don't move. Don't move, Dad. Stay right there. I'm like, cool. Guess I'll just check my phone and hold the controller and pretend I'm playing. So Lego Worlds. I bring this all up because I was worried that he might not know what to do because there's a lot of controls. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different tools. But we popped into sandbox mode first. And he took to it like a fish to water, man. He was
really,
yeah. Once he learned how to spawn things, that was the big thing. Like, oh, I can spawn whatever vehicle I want. We never got far enough in cities that there were any airplanes or helicopters or anything. If there are any,
I don't think there is. I think it's all just cars.
Okay,
yeah.
So he was very happy to see planes and trains and automobiles. And so,
I mean, John Candy's a legend.
That's right. Good. He's actually the original Candyman. Can you believe that?
Really?
Yeah. So,
I mean, if anybody can do it, the Candyman can.
That's what the movie is about. It's a documentary, autobiography. So
he had a lot of bees in his mouth. Wasn't that part of Candyman too?
Yes.
And the hook hand or whatever.
John B. Candy. That's
okay. Yeah.
So I was very impressed that he was able to play the game, figure out the controls. He's into it, man. Not too much of the creative side, but being able to just spawn whatever he wants and play around. And he really likes the winter world for some reason, which was a bummer because it's not unlocked immediately. We had to get 10 gold bricks to go there. So I helped him out there. But yeah, he's really taken to it. And I've even, popped in and played every once in a while, and we'll build stuff or do stuff so he can play whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I think out of the 3 that I've played so far, this is probably the one that interests me the most because when you think Lego, you think building stuff, or at least I do.
Sure. Yeah.
All the other Lego games, it's cool because it's Star Wars made out of Legos, and you do build things in the context of the level, but you can't just build whatever you want. And in the day and age of Minecraft, I kind of felt like this was an obvious choice, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's the one with the most replayability anyways, but you have to make your own fun.
Right. Yeah.
So
I got it on Switch for like super cheap at one point. And
sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And like, I don't think I did the sandbox mode at all. I jumped into like the story mode, if you will. And I was just really confused as to what's going on. And I played like a little bit and I'm like, this is dumb.
It's but like I guess No Man's Sky.
Right.
Almost.
Yes. So I guess like if you're building stuff and kind of just doing whatever you want, I could totally see the appeal there. But I had only played like the story mode. I'm like, this is terrible compared to Lego Batman like 3 and Lego Avengers. Yes. Are the ones I'm like, or Lego Marvel. Like there's so much better ones as far as the game. But you're right, as far as the sandbox, none of the other ones give you that, except for this one, which I don't think I even tried. Which maybe I should. I could re-download it. But
yeah, I mean, well, and like you said, you do have to make your own fun. So it kind of takes that creative spark, and I don't always feel like being creative, so I can see this game being like, I don't really feel like playing it, but he is loving it, and that's what's important. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really glad that he likes it, because I pretty much only bought that pack for him.
So what I want next week, I want you to get an audio clip, and we need to have his review of Lego Worlds.
Okay,
and we're gonna insert it into the show.
I will totally do that.
Okay.
If he actually can respond in somewhat of a, as long as it's funny, let's just, or entertaining.
Right. Yes.
The other game that I've played is Into the Breach. And I played this because I got the Game Pass, the PC Xbox Game Pass beta thing.
Right. Yes.
Yes. Which is weird because I did the other PC Game Pass thing they had going, and I don't know how it's really different other than there are more games, but I'm not really sure what was different between this and when it was, because it's a standalone app now, whereas before you had to go through the store, which was awful.
Because I think the difference with games anywhere was it before, meaning like if you purchased a game on Xbox, like Forza, you could play it on Xbox or on PC.
Okay. But it had to be PC enabled though, right?
Right. So not every game had that functionality, but only certain ones did. Whereas Game Pass, it's like, no, this is just a subscription you pay. You get this. You get access to all these games, but you don't technically own them. So like once you let the subscription go, you can't play any of these games again unless you renew them. So that's kind of difference is the Play Anywhere, you own the game, so you could always play it whenever you want. But the Game Pass is just subscription. It's your Netflix. Stop paying for it. You don't get it anymore.
I did it because it was $1 for this beta.
Mm-hmm.
The actual app is terrible. I mean, it's good in the sense that it is better than doing the Microsoft Store, because trying to separate what's going on with regular games with the ones that you actually unlock with Game Pass was horrible.
Yes.
But yeah, it's downloading, updating, it's all been really bad. That to say, this is why I saw Into the Breach was on there, and I was like, oh, I've been wanting to play this game. I almost bought it, so now I'm going to buy it.
Nope.
So lost the sale that way.
Sucker.
But yeah, exactly. So I downloaded this and I started playing it, and it is really addictive.
Nice.
It is. Have you played it?
No.
Okay.
I had to look it up to see what it was again, but it jogged my memory, but I have not played it yet.
Okay. So if you're unfamiliar with it, it's basically a grid, a turn-based strategy on a grid. It's 2D sprite based. You play as the mechs. The opposition are gaiju, basically giant. Right now I'm fighting like wasps and ants or something, or scorpions, and like alien creatures like that, giants. And so when you play, you're taken to these islands. You start at an island and you're basically tasked with recovering each region of the island. And the better that you do, the more reputation you earn for completing objectives like taking less than 4 damage on your mechs, or making sure the power station doesn't take any damage, stuff like that.
Right.
And so you go into these regions and your mechs drop down, and you see all these cities on the map that you have to protect, which is interesting because the cities act as your health. So you're there to protect the city, but there's also a meta reason for doing it. And that's that it counts towards your health within the campaign, meaning for every city that's destroyed, your health bar, which in this case is actually power, basically it's like electrical power, goes down by one bar each time. So if that whole bar, if that 10 bars or whatever empties, you're done. You can't play anymore, regardless of how many mechs you've lost,
right,
or anything like that. You have a team, they can switch out, you have different mechs and all this other stuff, but either way, and they can be customized. You can customize the different type of mechs. So you have like your walkers, your mech warrior type mechs. You also have spider tanks and all this other stuff. You can customize those with different abilities and weapons and all sorts of stuff. So pretty deep strategical gameplay on a very basic graphical level.
Yeah.
Now,
like Advance Wars, for anybody who hasn't seen it or is a Nintendo person, doesn't get exposed to other types of video games. The reference, it looks like Advance Wars. Yeah.
Yes. The only difference, and I haven't played Advanced Wars, but the only difference that since it plays on a grid that I've seen, and this is something I've never seen before, is that certain attacks have certain reactions. So they not only do damage, but they'll also push.
Right. Yeah.
Or do other things. Like I've only really seen push, but there's some other ones, stun maybe,
okay,
or cause them not to move or lose a turn or something.
Yeah.
I haven't played too deeply into the campaign. I've beat one island. And the whole hook, I guess, is that you can see what the monsters are going to do before the turn is taken. So they move and then they show you what attacks they're going to do. And then they carry it out after your turn. So what you have to do is basically react to what they're doing. And that's where the push mechanic comes into play. So if you see that a wasp is going to attack a city, you have your turn to move, then attack, and basically negate what they're going to do. Now,
right, try and cut them off. Yeah,
exactly. And you can do this in different ways. You can push them into other enemies and they'll still attack and they'll hit their allies, basically. So you can cause them to kill each other. You can push them into water, which causes them to die instantly. All sorts of stuff. So again, there's a lot of strategery going on.
Wait, the wasps fly though. You can knock the wasp into the water.
Nope, they fly and they won't die.
Okay, good.
See, strategery. I told you.
Strategery.
It's very strategic. So yeah, it's very almost has a board game feel to it because of that, like all these mechanics that are at play. The only thing that's kind of a bummer, and it's not even a thing against the game, is it really makes me want to have a perfect run every time I drop into the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because there are situations that you literally have to like reverse engineer and be like, okay, I need this to end here. How do I get to that point? Well, if I do this, then that I can get there, but then that leaves this person over here to attack this city. And so now I have to deal with that. So you really have to like reverse engineer what you're going to do. And if you can't, it's a real bummer. And I don't know why, but I feel like I need to have a perfect run every time. And I know the game isn't meant for that.
No,
but,
God, no.
that's a me problem because I do the same thing in Darkest Dungeon. And I know you're supposed to lose people, but I'm like, no, they've been with me since the beginning. I can't lose them. Guess I'm never going to play this game again.
That's why I turn off permadeath on whenever I do play Fire Emblem. It's the same thing. Death. I'm like, no. I'm not losing this character if they die. Like, forget that.
Yeah, for what? Bragging rights?
Yeah, I don't care. I'm probably not going to beat the game anyways. What difference does it make?
Yeah, exactly. I'm emotionally attached to these characters, so I'm not going to beat the game. So there. The only other thing I've done is I've played The Messenger. That was on there as well.
Nice.
But I'm not ready to talk about that one
okay.
yet, so.
Okay, I have played that one, so we can talk about that together when you are ready.
Cool. I'm just not ready yet. It's too fresh.
I'll give you all the time you need. I'll be here for you. I'll wait for you.
Will you be my angel, baby?
I can be your hero, baby.
That too. Will you take my breath away, though?
And I'll kiss away your pain.
You want to go? We can go.
No,
by that I mean kiss. All right. Okay, let's not.
Yeah. See, we didn't even make it to the halfway point of the show before we got derailed twice just in what you're playing. All right. So that shenanigans are over. Let's dive into the news of the week.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite news outlet on the Citadel.
I'll go first to give you a little bit of a break here to catch your breath.
Okay.
We'll start with the easy ones. PlayStation Plus was announced for July, of course. So the free games, air quotes, free games you get this month is Pro Evolution Soccer 2019 and Horizon Chase Turbo. Nothing super exciting, I don't think. I feel like anybody who wants to play a soccer game, Evolution Soccer or FIFA anyway. Horizon Chase Turbo, I am a little interested in. It's a 90s style racing game. So it looks like those old arcade ones where you just see from behind the car and you like steer. So
it literally looks like Outrun because it has a Ferrari in there. Ferrari. You know, a Ferraro. Yeah, exactly.
A Ferrero Rocher. Looks like that. So I'm mildly interested in that one, but I do think actually my PlayStation Plus is expiring. I think I'm going to lose everything. Maybe I won't even bother downloading.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't want to get hooked into a game on a platform that you're not invested in anymore.
Right, exactly. It's like I'll play the couple exclusives they have left coming out for the year, but I don't think I need the online for any of them, so I'm good. Moving over to the Xbox side, I don't think it's super great either, but they do have a couple ones that are interesting. First up is Inside is available, which was the follow-up to Limbo, as you recall.
Yes. Yep.
So that one does look kind of that one yet, but I didn't like Limbo. So I don't know if Inside is going to do anything different. I do know it plays a little bit different. You played Inside, didn't you?
I had Inside. The problem was this is one of those games that I watched a YouTuber stream from start to finish. And with this being such a story-based game, I was like, you know what? I don't need to play this actually. So I have a code, and I don't know if I ever gave it to anybody because I was like, why play it? I know what happens. So I did play Little Nightmares though, and that's very similar.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Also available is Castlevania Symphony of which is thanks to backwards compatibility. It was an NXT game, but you can play it on your Xbox One. Those two are available right now to download. The ones that pop in mid-July are a little weirder. Big Crown Showdown. You can play locally online with up to 4 players. Basically, it's a weird competition show, I guess. 3 wacky medieval worlds and 15 insane courses. The goal is to try and stay on top of on the course as it constantly shifts and throws hazards your way, attempting to knock you and your friends off. And you can, of course, shove your friends off. It seems really weird. It seems more like it would be like a mobile app versus a game.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And that's like the Xbox One offering. So this is supposed to be like the better game.
Oh no.
Backwards compatibility games. The other Xbox 360 title though is Disney's Meet the Robinsons, which is also a weird one. Like,
yeah, that's a really weird. We got to get something out there for the kids. I don't know. Meet the Robinsons.
And I mean, like they did Brave months ago or something like that too, and it's just like, okay, Brave is all right. I was like, but Meet the Robinsons, like that's not even a B tier Disney movie. That's even lower, I think, than that one. That's like,
yeah, that came out like 10 years ago too. Or
yeah, it was in that weird era where Disney wasn't doing so great. It had like Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons. And yeah, like, what are these movies? Like,
yeah,
but yeah, those are your one title for July. Inside and Castlevania are available now. Meet the Robinsons and Big Crown are available July 16th for those interested. Go get you some. Yeah, that's it. So why don't you pick a category?
Okay,
you want to go with Nintendo or PC and run with it?
I'll do PC because I have a similar category, and that's games of July that are coming to the PC. Final Fantasy. Now, these aren't just specific to the PC, I don't think, because there's Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers. Is that the
That's the online.
Is that the online one? Okay, I always get them mixed up because why did you name it Final Fantasy 14? Just call it Final Fantasy Online. What is wrong with you? Gosh.
Yeah.
So that comes out July 2nd, Shadowbringers, which is apparently an expansion.
Yes.
And things get a little dark. More interesting is July 5th with July 2nd, so that already came out. July 5th, which is Sea of Solitude.
Yes.
Which I thought looked pretty cool.
They did I have that coming on Xbox One. Donnie pre-ordered that, so I get that.
Nice. Now they did Sunless Sea, right? Or Sea?
Yes.
And
right? Yes.
I believe so.
Wait, no. No. This is the one that was only. Was this the one with one woman or whatever, and she came out on E3 like a couple
years
ago? So yeah, I don't think she did anything prior.
Okay, so these aren't directly related.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because this is the indie title. So EA for like a couple of years was picking one indie and pushing it out. So they did Unravel was one. Then they did A Way Out was their second highlighted one. This is the third highlighted one where they basically took the person under the wing and helped them, gave them money and helped them publish the game out.
Well, I remember this being announced and I thought it looked really cool, but I thought it was in the same world as Sunless Sea. So that's why I was confused. Okay. Well, never mind what I just said, but it does look cool. And it fell completely off my radar thanks to this year's EA and just not really paying attention. So yeah, that comes out July 5th and looks pretty cool. Now here's something that looks like it's going to end up in a Humble Bundle pretty darn soon, and it's called Blazing Chrome, which comes out in July 11th. It's a shoot 'em up. Shmup, which is basically described as a little bit Contra, a little bit Metal Slug, a lot of shooting the hell out of robots from the comfort of a motorcycle or helicopter with a buddy in local co-op. So not even online co-op. That's kind of sad. But I don't know. It could be good. You know, we're overdue for a good Contra / Metal Slug. So next game, Lost Ember. I don't know what that is. Comes out July 19th. Has you hopping from wolves to birds to fish to little moles deep beneath the earth in order to discover how an ancient civilization fell. Okay. That actually kind of could be cool. Yeah. If it's like a journey type thing, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. Or, you know, super artistic and you know, speaks to this generation's youth or something. I don't know.
This was announced in 2016 too, so that's been in the works for a while.
Yeah, I've been really looking forward to it.
Clearly.
July 26th, so we skip pretty close to the end of the month. Wolfenstein Youngblood. I think a lot of people are looking forward to this. I obviously don't have to describe what this is, but I'm assuming based on the metal rock horns that you gave me, that you're looking forward to this.
Oh yes.
Gonna kill some Nazis.
Oh yeah, Donnie and I think we're gonna co-op this one because you can play it together in this one. You can do solo, but you can play 2-player co-op the whole game. So I think we're gonna.
Wow.
Donnie and I are gonna invest some time, maybe stream it and put that out there. We're gonna play through together, and we all know Donnie's shooting skills are less than stellar, according to the track record, according to what the internet tells me. So he'll need the help. So yes, I will be there to support him.
That'll make an interesting dynamic within the story of Wolfenstein Youngblood, where one sister who's clearly more experienced will help the other sister survive.
It's like a big sister, little sister, even though they're twins.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. They just need a big daddy. That's all.
Oh my.
That I didn't mean it that way, but now I do. Mansions of Madness, Mother's Embrace. I think the board with video games people might perk up at this one.
Yeah.
It says quarter. Oh, see, now we're into the end of July. Sorry, this is out of July. This is Q2 2019.
Well, that would still bring you to the end of July.
Yeah, so that it's pretty close. It's got to be soon. So they must not have nailed down the time frame yet, but it's coming up. I've never played the Mansions of Madness tabletop game, this writer says, or its numerous expansions, but if Lucky Hammers can translate the Clue meets Lovecraft multiplayer gameplay to a game, that would be pretty great. Now, this needs to have online multiplayer then, because some of these board games don't have them, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, it makes like Catan, as Josh talked about on Board with VG, on Switch, does not have co-op. It actually has online, but you can't play with somebody in your house. Which is weird. Like it needs to kind of have both options. I mean, looking at the video for this and the graphics seem pretty cool. I've never played the game either. Although I just haven't invested in purchasing the game. Mm-hmm. It definitely looks kind of cool, but it's weird because this video that's here and looks very rough at the time, and to not and have like this won't be the video that you're highlighting that looks to be, an older engine with not much detail, and it's a lot more talking than it is actually. Leery of it, but
it looks like their Kickstarter video or something.
Yes, that's a great analogy there.
So real quickly, I just realized this is correct. Indivisible comes out in early 2019, so we'll skip that. Etherborn, actually July 18th, so there we go. It's a puzzle platformer. The Blackout Club.
This looks cool. Yep.
July 30th, emerging from early access, so it is technically out, but it'll be released on July 30th. Is a co-op horror game. Impressed back in 2018, but it's grown significantly since then, adding new missions, areas to explore, and things that have no business scaring the crap out of us. And they have some thoughts on this. So if you just look it up, I'm sure you can find out more about it. But just looking at this, it looks very atmospheric. Mm-hmm. Co-op horror, that's always a big one.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. It shows a lot of people holding their phones out or something. I don't know what's going on, but this was not on my radar, but it kind of is now, because of some of these horror games, when they're good, I find them to be very, they're exhilarating experiences that you can't get anywhere else. So,
although Josh talked about a little bit with Kyle, how they were playing co-op Dead Space 3, and they actually said playing it together took some of the jump scares out because you were busy talking as you're playing, and then you're like, oh, but this does look pretty cool. I'm watching the video now.
I see, and I wouldn't want to do like a single player game that way. I would rather have a game like this where it's set up, because I find like the jump scares don't necessarily work, but the tension of being overrun by zombies or one of your friends is pinned or whatever. I basically can only think of Left 4 Dead things, but those things are what I think make a more of a multiplayer horror game.
Dude, this looks so good. I know my computer probably can't run it, but I'm looking like this looks so good.
It's got to be made on Unity, so it probably runs like garbage. Honestly.
That's true. It seems to almost be a little bit like maybe a little reminiscent of Dead by Daylight, because it looks like there's a killer constantly dragging you towards a door. Very much like Dead by Daylight, you get hung up on the hooks, but there's three of you working together to combat that. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it's asymmetrical either, so it's probably at least it wasn't described that way from what I'm seeing. So yeah, if any of that suits your fancy, then there you go. Now you know when it's coming out. And then lastly, now the Steam Summer Sale is well on its way, as I'm sure some of us know. I have actually only bought, well, technically two things. Oh, I forgot something. I'll have to talk about it next week. Well, Josh will get to talk about it then because him and I played Pummel Party. That was one thing I bought.
Yep.
And then the other thing I bought had been on my list for a while, and that was not Roller Coaster Tycoon, Coaster Planet.
Oh yeah,
Planet
Coaster. Yep.
Now, that game like never dropped under $20 for like a year or two. Yep. I was like, what is going on? Now, with every summer sale, there's some sort of like mini game that you can participate in when you buy stuff. It causes things to happen. And I've never really paid attention to it because I don't really care. But apparently this year's summer sale has had a game that's extraordinarily confusing to everyone. And so I read this story because it was confusing to me as well. So you pick a team and it's all about the Grand Prix. You pick an animal, which is your team, and you complete objectives that allow you to boost. So boost your team, and whoever's team wins, I think it's the top 3 out of 5. People will be chosen at random out of those teams to receive one game on their wish list. So that's pretty cool. Well, could be pretty cool. I mean, it's random, so who knows? Now listen to this explanation. This is how here's the breakdown. Spend money on games to increase your boost meter capacity. The boost meter enables you to earn points in the races. Once you've fueled your boost meter, you then complete Grand Prix quests in the games you own to earn points. The writer says, wouldn't that be fueling? And aren't the points what you earn in the races? The quests are things like ripping off faces in Divinity Original Sin 2. So you got to do things in game. The points you earn will advance your team in the race when you boost and also build up nitro towards your next boost, I guess. Upon boosting, the nitro you've gained will help increase your team's speed in the race. So now there's speed. At this point, an observant player will notice that nitro is referred to elsewhere as nitro boost points, but is seemingly different from points. You can also coordinate. Now it gets really great. You can also coordinate timed boosts with your teammates to increase your team boost level, whatever that means. Boosting also earns you attacks, which can be used to slow other teams down. So you got all that, right? You know how to play the game now.
Sure.
I like this. I like the I largely ignored it, but I did join a team just to see what it was, and I was just like, this looks stupid, and it is dumb. Clearly it is way too convoluted. But I do like the little quote at the end here. It's even funnier if you imagine that these are the rules to a fake game in a 90s sitcom that a kid would play. And they go out and say, "Get out of here, Dad. I've just fueled my boost meter, and if I coordinate a time boost with my teammates, we'll increase our team boost level. With 100 active nitro, we'll get a 0.1 times boost to our team's speed." Radical. And they're like slamming the controller in a ridiculous manner. It's impossible. Get out of here, Johnny. You're talking nonsense. So yeah, now you want to buy games on Steam Summer Sale, right, Kevin?
I mean, yeah, that'd be the only reason I'd want to buy games in the summer sale, to be on Team Corgi.
I think that's actually the most popular one. It's a dog, so of course. If they had a cat, that'd probably be number
one. A bunny, a turtle, a dog, a parrot, and a pig.
Parakeet and a pig. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's very Fable-esque. Remember when all those
yes,
all those animals had a Grand Prix?
Yep. I was very familiar with that one. Yeah.
So yeah, why do we have to gamify this? Why can't we just have a Steam Summer Sale? They had to put people to make this. I don't understand.
And the point of Summer Steam Sale is to buy all these games that likely you'll never go ahead and play. Yeah. But yet they want you to complete objectives in the games you just bought. It's like, no, you just want them to buy the game and not play it ever. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
They have it or whatever. And
they started doing that stuff with another sale, that maybe the spring sale or spring cleaning sale. They had these like objectives to do, and I'm just like, and they all were tied to games that you hadn't played in a while. And I'm like, what's the motive behind this? I don't understand. But whatever. I'm just going to play what I want to play, not because some thing tells me to play the game.
Yeah.
Oh, just a second. I'm getting a notification on my phone that I need to check into the Mario Maker 2 level here. Anyways.
So I got all the slopes. All right,
for days.
So I'll go into a pseudo PC story as I transition into the multi-platform stories we got tonight.
Okay.
And this is Dr. Disrespect.
Yes.
He is back on Twitch. For those of you who are not familiar, he let's see. let's recap. If you're not familiar with Dr. Disrespect, he is a Twitch streamer. One of the more popular ones on Twitch. His claim to fame though is in the 90s, he actually won the Video Game World Championships 2 years back to back. But obviously, I mean, he's in like his mid 30s at this point, so he's not like one of these young sports guys. He definitely can play. He's actually really good at like PUBG, Apex. He's really good at shooting games, sniping especially. But after winning that back in his youth, he developed this character known as Dr. Basically, an 80s rock star version of Borat set in the video game world instead, where he plays his character wearing a wig, like a mullet. He always wears like his hillbilly hunting glasses
NASCAR
with the
glasses,
NASCAR glasses. He always wears his headphones, even when he's in person in real life. He's still wearing the headphones if he's streaming. Like leather, it's always black. He has the Champions Club as his followers. He's just basically really entertaining to watch. He's not necessarily the best gamer, but he's always fun because he generally puts on a show. He's not just a streamer who just sits there and plays the game. He has a whole act and gimmick and stuff.
Nice.
He often yells at his producer who's doing things like live. If he screws up, he like just screams, like throws things, fires him almost on a daily basis. He does a lot of like blue screen or green screen effects too. Like he'll get up in between matches and like take you to the champions lounge inside of his big arena. That's like a locker room. He's like, do you need a drink? You know, he does a thing. He goes up on the roof and there's a helicopter landing. Like he does all these crazy things. So
nice.
But for his first IRL stream, copyright Fluxpose.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
On June 11th at E3, he made a public appearance, was streaming live on Twitch there, not pre-recorded, nothing like that. He was just live streaming, stayed in character the entire time. He had a bodyguard with him. And the bodyguard was actually the real life bodyguard of it was a rock band. I forgot what it was. It wasn't like Slipknot, but it was something like that. It was a metal band.
Nickelback.
I don't know. It was more badass than that. But the guy was sitting there wearing like a combat vest and he had like an earpiece and he pretended to talk to people as like stuff was going on. But he was like pretty ripped and he actually did no karate. He did like a couple jump kicks and stuff throughout the stream. But it was just exactly the you'd expect from Dr. Disrespect. Walking the floor, people would come up to see him, he'd sign people stuff, but he stayed in character the entire time. Nice. But he had a little bit of a snafu. You know, as you're known to do, as you're walking all day at an event, at some point you got to take a leak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the camera followed Dr. Disrespect into the bedroom. And because it was a live stream and he does not break character, he went with it. Oof. And E3 was not happy about that. They revoked his badge immediately.
Wow.
And Twitch suspended him. It was only a 2-week suspension, so ultimately not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but obviously you live stream inside a public restroom, especially when people aren't consenting to that. Number one, there could be minors, so on and so forth. Nothing was shown, but yes, it's irresponsible by any means. But he's back, and he actually made an apology outside of character, which was unlike him. Guy Beam, I think is how you say his last name, the actual human behind the mustached Dr. Disrespect, wrote an apology. He always tries to be, authentic and edgy as Dr. Disrespect. So he made the apology as himself, not as Dr. Disrespect. His exact quote: "When we were walking around filming at E3, we clearly weren't thinking all his repercussions of filming in a bathroom because honestly, it wasn't in our mind frame at the time. We were sort of all in with the Doc live stream experience and capturing the E3 event through the eyes of the character. So we were so into E3 IRL journey that we became a little more blind in what's okay, what's not okay." Then he goes on to say he's taken the time during suspension from Twitch to reflect on the incident and its aftermath. Probably BS, but let's be honest. You got to say that. Followed closely by teasing the fact he has projects in the works to elevate the brand and gaming entertainment as a whole into the mainstream space. Because as any celebrity, even if it's a pseudo internet celebrity, it wouldn't be a real public apology without so stay tuned for what's next. But to be honest, he doesn't try and say what he did wasn't wrong. Like, he didn't try and play around it and say, "Oh, I don't understand what the big deal was." Like, he just took his lumps and moved on.
Yeah, which is very surprising because most people don't for some ungodly reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, especially from a guy who's called Dr. Disrespect, or at least his character is. You'd think he would just run with it and just bury it into the ground. But good for him. Good for him.
Yep.
And it worked in his favor because I didn't know who he was, and now I do.
I can't believe you didn't know who he was. I talk about him so much. I can't believe you.
Well, I just kind of nod my head when you say things. Well, okay, when anybody says anything that I don't know,
Fair enough.
I don't want to go, I don't know what you're talking about. I just go, oh, yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah. I actually, I don't generally watch him while he's like streaming live. But he puts like once a week, like hits video on YouTube, and it's like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of like the week's best stuff. And I watch those because that's much more easier to digest as opposed to watching like 3-hour live stream every single day. Like, no, I just watch the highlight reel and it's fun and entertaining. So yeah. But yeah, that's it for him. So he took the lumps, moved on, and he's back. Rumor has it that he's planning on doing a streaming an IRL base jump as part of his return. Gosh. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. He hasn't confirmed nor denied that yet. Other news.
Yeah.
Alan Wake. Remember that game?
Yeah, I like that game.
Everybody liked that game. Well, the developer Remedy Entertainment regains publishing rights to Alan Wake, which is kind of nuts considering Microsoft is in the business of scooping up studios and buying studios. Yeah. And they had the rights to something and they let it go, which is weird because, let's be honest, fans have been clamoring for another follow-up to Alan Wake for quite some time. I think everyone's kind of wondering why there hasn't been more.
I will say that Microsoft lately, like in the last couple of years, I feel like they've been kind of chill, you know? They've been just kind of cool about things. I mean,
that is true.
Things here and there, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, that makes sense. I just figure why wouldn't you buy up the studio, make them just make the game and then release it on multiple platforms? Like they're doing that with other games, like Minecraft is on other platforms. There's other things that they're working on that are planned to come to other consoles. So it just seems a little odd, but Alan
Wake is just too good to
everybody deserves Alan Wake.
Yes, exactly.
You can't put Alan Wake in the corner.
That's right. If we can't have a good what's dark? Now, oh man, Alone in the Dark. Woo! Gosh, we got there in the end, didn't we? If we can't have a good Alone in the Dark game, then we need Alan Wake to come and save us.
That's true. That is true. But yeah, so no official announcement other than that, but everyone's kind of like, all right, well, sequel or remaster. I am totally down for a remaster. If they like do it from the ground up again, like do it in modern engine, don't just up-res the stuff, like do it ground up. And then, eventually lead way to a sequel if it sells well enough, but I'd be totally excited to see that revisited.
I think they should remaster it, but only release it as a Switch exclusive so that I can play it in 540p handheld while I'm taking a dump.
Agreed. And there is still the television series is still in development too.
Wow, that is probably the most amazing part, actually.
Which is weird because it's like, okay, there's no game. There hasn't been a game in a long time. I mean, shoot, 2012 was the spinoff American Nightmare.
Man.
So, I mean, we're looking at, it's been a while to pop out. It's like that audience isn't there anymore. I mean, some people are remembering it, but without a current game, it seems a little weird. It's like doing a Tomb Raider movie if it's out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems weird.
Yeah.
There's no content to tie it back. So, like, you want to cross-sell that. So, I mean, but who knows? Maybe they've been working on and the final step was getting the rights to do it themselves, and they're going to do both these simultaneously.
I'm kind of surprised that they're doing it at all, because what was that one game that came out for Xbox and Windows that had half of it was the game, but then it would stop and you'd have to go watch a 20-minute TV show and then come back and play it again.
I have no idea.
Oh man, terrible. What was it? I can't remember what it was called. It had the guy from Lost in it. Breaking Point? No, that sounds like a terrible action movie. I can't remember.
Point Break.
Yes. I have it on Steam. I can't remember what it's called. I have to look it up. It's gonna bother me.
That's fine. You move on to the next story.
I'll just scream it out loud randomly when I find it.
That works. The other interesting bit of publishing news here is that Skybound. I believe it's Skybound. Let me make sure I have that right.
We don't know anything what we're doing.
Well, I said it, and then I'm like, this sounds right, and then I'm like, no, it can't be right. Skybound, who purchased the rights to finish publishing The Walking Dead when Telltale went under. The game had an ending, now is releasing a single pack September 10th to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the complete Walking Dead Telltale series. So every single DLC episode, every single thing is there from the Michonne miniseries, 400 Days Later, the whole 4 seasons of it, and a whole bunch of extras, this is where it gets weird for me. So the employees of Telltale are not going to be getting any profit off of this, which is almost entirely their work, except for the last 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
But there's going to be like 10 hours of developer commentary here, art gallery, music players showing all the different tracks. It's like, it's almost a nod to, you guys did great things. We're going to do this great commentary, 10 hours of commentary, but it's like, you're not getting any money for this game though. Like, your company's gone. It's weird.
It is weird.
I don't know. And you do, there's an option of doing a graphic black style, which this I think is kind of cool. It will basically change the game to look like the Walking Dead comics do, where everything is in black and white. For the whole entire series, which I think that's kind of cool to see that. Although I would want them to still do blood, like do blood and red, which maybe that's the case, but I think that's a pretty cool thing to play through that way as well.
They
give that nod.
It's the Mad Max Chrome version of the series. I like it. Quantum Break.
You had to stop and watch show. I thought it was in the game. You had to watch these long things.
What? Quantum Break? Yeah, I thought so. What?
But it was in game. You didn't have to stop and go watch TV, right?
Oh, it was in game?
I thought it was in game.
I don't know. I remember them making a big deal about it.
Quantum Break, all episodes. Yep. Okay, you're right.
See,
Quantum Break, full live action TV series. But did you have to stop and watch that? I thought it just coincided with it. Like,
I thought there was like specific points where you could stop and learn more. Click here to learn more.
Wait, the game? No, the game does have it. The game features. Sorry, everyone. We're derailing this whole thing because we need to come to the bottom.
Well, we all need to know what's happening here. Quantum Break, get your stuff together.
Where is?
The fact that we don't remember means it was too convoluted and confusing.
I mean, yeah.
Also, the game had a really weird effect that made everything look blurry and awful.
Yes, that it definitely did. I can't find this. Wikipedia is way too big. It said it's in game though in like the synopsis, but I don't know. Okay, whatever. Either way, we're over it.
I don't know.
The game features episodes of an integrated live action TV show. Integrated would mean it was in the game.
I would assume so.
Okay, so the episodes were in the game.
Yeah, actually, this Engadget thing that I'm looking at about Quantum Break says when Remedy released Alan Wake's American Nightmare, a few people questioned the live action cutscenes sprinkled throughout the campaign, which I didn't know about because I never played American Nightmare.
I didn't either.
See, it all came back full circle because
there you go.
It started with Alan Wake and now it ends here with Alan Wake, and we can move on in our lives and pretend like that just never happened.
Okay, each episode plays between acts. Between Act 1 and 2 is the first episode, between 2 and 3 is the second, and so on and so forth. But apparently you had the option to not install those episodes. So if you didn't install it, you would just play the game and never get those. It was basically built into the game.
So you press here to not have story. Oh, you don't.
I guess story? Pretty much. Like, yeah, it's like if you just played off the disc but didn't download those episodes, I guess like you could play the game without having those downloaded. So I guess we're both right. It was in game, or you could watch them separately. Technically,
man, you had options.
You did. But hey, Walking Dead, that's out too. Or coming out. So, but
I do want to point out black and white mode,
not on Switch.
Wow.
Which is weird because all these games played on a freaking iPad. You'd think they just released the whole series on Switch, but
that is kind of weird.
Yep. PC either, to be honest. But I think exclusive to those. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like the ending ones, I think were Epic Store exclusive. The final,
I think you're right. I think
so that might be why they can't release it on PC, at least not yet.
Epic getting their dirty fingers in every pie.
Hey,
what is wrong with them?
They told Steam they told Steam what they need to do to make them stop, and they haven't done it yet. They haven't responded to them.
Wow.
So
it's in there. Well, Steam is that immovable giant that thinks it doesn't have to change to continue to make money, and so far they're pretty much right. So
it's true, except make terrible little mini games for their sales. But anyway, all right, let's move on and make fun of Nintendo now.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's see. Let's have my microphone fall. Let's talk about that little niche game that nobody's going to play or is playing called Mario Maker 2. I thought this was actually pretty cool. And maybe this is some of the appeal of the game. Celeste creator Matt Thorson share a series of Super Mario Maker 2 levels. So if there's a game creator making levels, I would play those. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yes, I agree. I think that is very cool that he did that. And that's the audience too that you'd want. Number one, based on Celeste, which had a great level design, whether you like the game or not. The design levels were there, and it was very much Mario Maker-esque. As you play Celeste, like it plays like a Mario Maker game would. Like, hey, you have these levels that if you screw up once, you're gonna fall and die. These are kind of designed the same way, but it is really cool to see another developer appreciate and take that creativity and utilize it and put it out there for other people to enjoy. I think it's cool.
Yeah, if you want to find out how, it's an article on Nintendo Life. You'll be able to find it pretty easily. They have the level codes and everything. I'm assuming that's how that works. But yeah, if there were more like people who I felt were worthy of making levels, then I would be interested in that. But I mean, are you saying levels that Donnie's kids and Jason Lacey made are not enough to get you to buy the game? They said they wouldn't make levels. Well, Donnie's kid, slopes for days. Well, here's what I know. I know that you have to be able to, if you make the level, you have to be able to complete it before you can upload it. So knowing that there is a way to beat it might just get me to be able to play these slopes for days. It's true. One thing I will point out that I found out about Mario Maker just by kind of perusing some articles here and there, they have Super Mario Land. That was the Game Boy one, right? Yep. They have the Fire Flower from that, which worked very different than the Fire Flowers in any other game. They added this to Mario Maker, which is a weird nod. And you probably never played the original Game Boy Mario one, but instead of just throwing the fireballs like he does now, spatoo, like a rubber ball where you throw it and it would actually bounce off environments. Oh. And so that version of the Fire Flowers there, it makes your Mario character like gray and white, like that pea green and gray rather. Yeah. Game Boy would have, and the fire where it bounces off of things. I thought it was just a really cool nod to something that like most people either don't even know this game. Most kids nowadays would have no idea because they never like remastered, re-released it or anything. It was just like Game Boy and that was it. Or it was a great nod for something for those who would see a great Easter egg, I think, for people who were like, oh crap, I remember that. Like, yeah. That is pretty cool, actually. Yeah. I like little nods like that. I'm always appreciative of that. Unless I don't get them, then I can't be appreciative of them. So lastly, let's talk about Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. And actually, when you said that, who was adding Symphony of the Night to Xbox? I wonder if they did that on purpose. They probably did. I wouldn't be surprised because they're awful. Pretty decent game from what I hear. Not perfect, but what would you expect? It's kind of a budgety, not a budget title, but it's got a lower budget than most Castlevania games would. Right. Not that this is a Castlevania one, I know that, but it's a Castlevania one. Come on. It's heavily inspired by, yes. Now here's the problem. It's going pretty well for everyone, except for people who want to play this on Switch, apparently. Lots of issues. I'm sure people have seen this, and if not, then I'm here to warn you. Apparently, just multiple issues that make me wonder how this got released. Inexcusable, really. Two things. Either one, just delay it on Switch or whatever platform until you get it working right. Or two, just acquiesce the fact that it's not going to work on that platform. Because releasing a broken game doesn't make anyone happy. No, it's literally the worst. I mean, this game is like, it's not just so there's been plenty of graphical comparisons where like there are textures and things like water, which in every other console it moves and it's stuff. This one, it looks more like ice where it's just static. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Right. That's one thing. But this game is on people like you cannot play it, which is why I'm shocked. The article you linked here kind of talking about it. Nintendo Life, not to bash Nintendo Life. We're sorry if anybody actually is listening from Nintendo Life. 7 out of 10. For everything I've heard, that seems to be too high for the issues that this has. You know what? You're right, because I thought this was a review for like just all like the game, regardless of what platform it was on. I guess that doesn't make any sense because not for that website. Life. Yeah, never mind. Well, that was stupid. I'm just gonna leave now. What? Nobody knows don't take anything I say as advice because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, that's a good point. That is a really good point though. 7 you're like, hey, this game's broken. It must be really good when it's working then.
I mean,
maybe it was a 10.
Or I mean, it's tough because like it's weird. As you review games, I mean, we've all done here. It's tough to separate certain things. So like you might be like, hey, this has an awesome gameplay mechanic and it's not meant to look good, so I can give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah. Because it's still, but when something's trying to look good and it just doesn't, it's hard to get past that.
Yes.
Like you said, this is on multiple platforms. So like you could look it up and say like, wow, on Xbox, this looks great. Why does it look like this on Switch? So like, then you can't really like that type of reviewing. You cannot give those two different, I mind, the same score, but something that's like an 8-bit, pixel art game. Well, okay, they could. It's very possible to have the same score on both consoles, but it's like this is just very odd that it seems broken. To be too high, being broken.
It's a broken game. Well, I mean, you could probably complete it, but there's things like, I guess if you go in a room and you read a book from a bookshelf, it literally causes the game to move in slow motion until you go out of the room and go into a new place. Like, could you imagine going to the beginning of a level or a room, opening this book? You just not do it at that point, I guess. Right. Input lag. I guess there's more input lag. Visual effects, like you said, have been completely changed, which I understand needs to happen. I'm not really too concerned about the fact that shadows might be a little bit lower quality, or, textures might not look as sharp. I understand there's going to be things that are a trade-off when you bring it to a handheld console.
Right.
However, it should still work at a basic level.
Yes. And so I just happened to look on Metacritic just to see, and like user scores, 88 ratings, 4.4.
Wow.
But critic reviews, they can't calculate yet because there's only been 3. And it's from GameSpew, which I've never heard of. Yeah. Gave it a 90.
Wow.
This is on Switch. This is on Switch. Nintendo Life gave it the 70, so they're published. GameSpace gave it a 60. And Destructoid is in progress, so it's unscored, but the comment is the Switch version lags way behind the others in nearly every conceivable way.
What are the scores for the other like, give me another platform.
I'm checking right now. I'm going to PS4. Metacritic scores 83 with users given to 8.8. And let me check Xbox One. Just any different, which it probably won't be 80. So they're in the a solid B. Okay. But to give the Switch Plus in PC, and so they seem to be in the mid to high 8s out of 10s, but the Switch one is only just behind at 7, but yet every single one talks about how bad it is.
Yeah. And I mean, the frame rate is halved at 30 frames per second for this game. That's a pretty major thing. Like, yeah. I mean,
and the character models aren't clear. They're fuzzy. And they're pseudo cutscenes. They don't even look good. So in the cutscenes, the characters are just like posed and it's static with text, much like the old Fire Emblem games would be. Mm-hmm. But like the art to me looks worse than what the 3 rooms look like when they were just static. So they're not moving. So why does he look fuzzy and not detailed? And the character models in game seem to be kind of fuzzy and blurry too, which is just that stinks.
In the Switch's defense, I almost wonder how much of this is the game's fault because it seems like maybe it's not very well optimized if it can't run a game that looks like it was out on the N64.
Right. And I think that's the biggest problem. And not to harp, I mean, Nintendo Shack talks about this a lot. And The Witcher is one thing where The Witcher looks so far from what we've seen, radically different than the PC version. I get it. You have to make sacrifices to make it run. But here's the thing, like, I'm confident CD Projekt Red will make sure this game runs. It may not look great, but it will run. And games that are literally designed to be way more graphically intense, mechanically intense, whatever it is, that the Switch couldn't handle that. But we're seeing some here where I don't want to call developers lazy, but they are being lazy as to this work on this console. There's no reason that this type of game shouldn't work. The Switch isn't that underpowered that it can handle. Like Bloodstained could be running on an Xbox 360 and a PS3. No problem. I could see it running on the Wii U, for crying out loud. So
this was originally designed for the Wii U, actually. Right. It was supposed to come out on that. So you knew. I mean, I don't know what the power difference is there, if there is one, but
there is. But it should be good. There's no reason for a game like that to not run well. I get Skyrim, I get Witcher, those ones I understand, but these indie titles where it's not something super, involved.
You know what? I figured it out. They're going to release the Switch Pro, and then they put on the game plays better on Pro. or with Pro or whatever. It's all a scheme to get you to buy that darn Switch
it's
Pro.
A clever marketing scheme by Nintendo. Like, hey, developer, can you like make this game look like crap?
Yeah.
And then just have a patch ready for when we drop the Pro, and we're just gonna put the patch on. It's all good.
Exactly. They can't do it first party because we would see what was happening.
That's true.
Here,
that's true.
They're in cahoots, is what it is.
Figured it out. It's that Doug Bowser, I bet. Reggie leaves and it all goes to hell.
That's right. He's actually, I don't know if people have realized this yet, but I found out he's actually Bowser from the Mario games. I know it's hard to believe because what would lead you to that conclusion?
Wait. So they lied during the E3 Direct when Bowser that he wasn't him?
I think we've established that Nintendo lies through their teeth constantly.
God.
They even put razor blades in the game cartridges.
They make their games taste bad.
That's right.
You ever lick one? It's awful.
I know. It's like, why wouldn't you make this taste delightful?
Right.
You hate children. Nintendo hates children. Putting it out there.
You know who wouldn't do that? Willy Wonka. Like
That's right.
Snozberries.
Exactly.
Yep. Derailed.
You're assuming that there was a rail to begin with, sir.
This is true. This is why people love us, Lucas.
Or hate us. We're either loved or we're hated.
It's true. There's no middle ground, really.
No, there is not.
There's not. There's like rescues. But I think that's it. I think that's all the news we got.
That's all I got.
Let's wrap it. Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Where can people find you and your other shows?
Well, when I'm not rummaging around garbage bins in some dark alley, usually I can be found on Discord. Sometimes I'm on Flux to Pose Discord. Other times I'm on PSVG Discord. That's kind of hard to say.
It is.
PSVG Discord. It's like one extra letter that I can't quite get out. That's another me problem. I'm also on Twitter sometimes, but honestly, it's gotten so backlogged now that I'm just like, I don't know, clear all the notifications.
Yep.
Am I getting talked to? I have no clue. So if you want to talk to me, hit me up on Discord. I'm also on the Flux to Pose podcast. If you don't get enough of me here, check me out there, I guess.
Catch them outside. Catch them outside.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all. You can follow me if you're so inclined at PSVG Kevin on Twitter. But more importantly, ask that you go onto psvg.blog and find all the things PSVG, including that PSVG Discord that Lucas can't say, where all sorts of conversations going on, things happening, murders, lost kittens.
Yes, that's true. There is a lot.
Fights about Splatoon. There's all
baby pictures.
Baby pictures. Baby pictures. This is just all sorts of things. Join us. Why don't you? But most importantly, as always, we ask that you never
stop
gaming.
This has been a PSVG production. Any music, sound effects, or the like is owned by their respective copyright holders. No infringement is intended. The views expressed in this production are those of the individual contributor and may not necessarily reflect PSVG. This production may not be repurposed, reused, or redistributed without the express written consent of PSVG. PSVG is powered by patrons at patreon.com/PSVG. Become a patron to get special perks, including access to exclusive content.